My presentation today is on the book The Circus Fire by Stuart Ernan. It's about the Ringling Brothers and the Barnum and Bailey Circus Fire that happened on July 6th of 1944 in Hartford, Connecticut. This fire was extremely deadly and killed 167 people. It's known as one of the deadliest fires in America's history. On a hot summer evening in July, the Ringling Brothers and the Barnum and Bailey Circus was having its final performance in Hartford, Connecticut. Over 8,000 men, women, and children traveled to a big field to see the animal menagerie, an oddity show, and the great circus performance. Halfway through the show, a small fire started behind a sidewall. It was noticed by multiple people, but the bystander effect held true, and they all thought someone would take care of it and put it out. However, that was not the case. It caught the tent on fire, and it quickly spread upward, engulfing the entire tent in flames. The tent was coated in paraffin and gasoline to make it waterproof. This made the flames burn fast, hot, and long. The band noticed the fire and started to play Stars and Stripes Forever, which is a song that alerted the circus employees that something was wrong. The ringleader came on at one point and told people it was going to be fine and just to stay in their seats. This didn't happen, as people started to charge at the doors. There were not many exits in the tent, and some were blocked by animal cages. And when people started to panic, chaos ensued. People threw their kids over walls, people jumped over 12 feet to get to safety, some even sliced open the tent, just trying to escape. The bleachers caused quite an issue, with people running down them and falling and getting trampled. 167 people ended up being killed by either smoke inhalation, burns, or getting trampled. There was also a number of animals that were killed and badly burned. We see a foreshadow of this fire 2 years earlier in Ohio, when the same circus company had a fire that burned down the menagerie tent. Prior to a show, a tent had caught fire and it killed over 100 animals, including giraffes, lions, tigers, chimps, zebras, and elephants. After this fire, very few changes were enacted, nobody died, so there wasn't any more fire regulations put in. If there was, it could have prevented the tragedy that happened in 1944. No one was officially blamed for this incident. The authorities deemed it as a terrible accident. Some spectators have claimed that they saw a man throw a cigarette outside of the bathroom that could have led to the spark on the sidewall. No one was ever charged with it, but it did not exonerate the Ringling Brothers officials for some sort of culpability. 4 men faced charges for acts of negligence. Cited among these acts was a lack of fire preparation on part of circus management. An investigation into the blaze revealed that at the time of the performance, the circus fire extinguishers remained buried and inaccessible in a storage unit, and its fire trucks rested more than a quarter-mile away and didn't come to aid. Investigators also charged the circus with failing to notify the Hartford Fire Department of their arrival and intention to perform. There was no safety inspection performed, and that could have helped to prevent this. All of these drew much-needed attention to fire regulations that were soon put into place after. The disaster made headlines across the country and spurred numerous state and local lawmakers to enact stricter fire codes for buildings and public assemblies. The American Standards Association drafted a new code for carnival fairs and circuses. This required flame-proof tents, well-trained fire personnel on hand, and an adequate amount of fire exits, and there was no longer allowed smoking inside. I thought this book was very interesting. The way it was written, it was composed of hundreds of testimonies from all the survivors. It went chronologically through the events, and it shared little details from multiple survivors. It would quote different people at each part and share what they witnessed at that time. There were testimonies from people that had seen the start of the fire, and there were testimonies from people trying to rush to the stands and seeing people get trampled. It was really able to show a complete view of the event. It came from both guests and the circus workers and also the first responders that at the event. And it really helped to encapsulate what it was like before, during, and after event. One weakness of the book that I thought was the sheer number of testimonies. I would have liked to hear from the survivors more than just a few sentences. Their stories were very interesting. But overall, the book was written very personably, and it did a great job to explain the Great Circus Fire tragedy and what led up to it.